Hey guys, it's Elle, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my September wrap-up. I'm super excited. I had a really good reading month in September. I read 14 books in total, and I read a variety. I read some on audio, some physically. I don't think I read any on my Kindle this month, but I'm super excited to share these with you, so let's get right into it. These are in no particular order because I kind of messed up the order and I honestly don't remember when I read what book. So one of the first ones I think was Souls Unfractured by Tilly Cole. This is the third book in the Hades Hangman series, and this follows Flame and Maddie. You definitely need to read this series in order to understand what's happening. But this series is basically about these women who escaped a religious cult, and they are now brought into the safety of this motorcycle club in Texas. And Maddie was one of the ones who was the most severely abused by the men in the order, which is what the cult is called. And she just went through a lot. Trigger warnings for sexual assault, murder, sexual abuse. There's a lot of trigger warnings in this book. I've definitely checked them. I don't remember them all. But Flame also went through a lot of similar things as Maddie. And Flame was the one who saved Maddie, and he was the one, I don't want to give it away, but he was the one that kind of saved her. And she's not like infatuated with him, he's more infatuated with her. Flame's super, super dark, and she is kind of helping him through his darkness, and it's just such a great read. I loved the darkness in this book, and just the different aspects of it. The motorcycle romance aspect of it. It wasn't as action-packed as some of the other ones in the series. It was more based on the characters, which I really appreciated, especially for this couple. And I just really enjoyed this one. I really liked it, and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. The next book I read was the next book actually in this series, which was Deep Redemption. This follows, what's his name, Ryder, who he kind of betrayed a lot of people in the beginning of this book. And he was the prophet of the cult, the new prophet, but then some things happen where now he's in prison, like in the order, and this new girl comes in who was living in Puerto Rico and at like a different prophet area thing, and they bring her in because she's supposedly a curse, which a curse is like somebody who's super, super beautiful, but so beautiful that it's like a curse. Like if you go near them, you have temptation towards them. And so Ryder and Harmony are like next door to each other in prison cells, and they kind of start up this friendship. And I don't want to say anything more because it's a huge spoiler, but this book was incredible. I think it's one of my favorites of the series. The first one is my favorite, I think, and this might be my second favorite. I just loved it so much. I loved Ryder and Harmony, and just what happens in this book. And this is, of course, in the series, it's just super dark, but you definitely have to read this series in order to get to this one. But absolutely 5 stars. I gave the other one 5 stars. I forgot to say that, but I absolutely love this series. I can't wait to continue on. Okay, so the next one I read this month was Fair Catch by Candy Steiner. I give this one 4 stars. This is a college football romance, enemies to lovers, and so our girl Riley, she is the only female football player on the team for her college. She gets a lot of backlash from that, especially from her teammates. And Zeke is best friends with her brother, but then her brother and Zeke got in a really bad accident in high school, and her brother is now paralyzed from that accident, and he was a really, really good football player. And so she really blames Zeke for what happened to her brother. And so that's where kind of the hate to love aspect goes into it. But then they, kind of toe the line of romance and get together, and They both like second guess if the other one wants this to be real or not. I really enjoyed it. I love the aspects of football. It did get a little bit slower in the middle of the book. Not as much football, and I really did not like the third act breakup. I felt it kind of was annoying and dragged out the book, but I did really enjoy it, and I can't wait to read Blindside. Okay, so the next one I read was Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I've been putting this book off for a really long time, and because I was really scared I was not going to like it, and I was right. I gave this one 3 stars. I just didn't like it. I didn't like how Colleen Hoover was trying to get the reader to fall in love with a character who basically killed someone, even if it was an accident. And so our heroine, she lost her longtime boyfriend, and I can't remember, I think they were in college, but basically they, I think she was driving the car, and then they got in an accident, and then she left basically her boyfriend there to die, and then she found out she was pregnant while in prison, and so her baby was given to her boyfriend's parents. And so not like 5 years later now, she's out of prison and wants to be in her daughter's life, and she meets this guy who is best friends with her boyfriend that died, and he is kind of trying to help her meet her daughter. And I didn't really believe the romance either. I thought the book was boring. I mean, I did feel emotional towards what Kenna was going through and kind of being ripped away from her child. But like on the other aspect was that, you know, she did leave her boyfriend there to die. And I just was really upset by this book, and I just didn't really like it that much. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. I don't really want to keep it. I might do a giveaway for it. And I just love this cover though. It's so pretty. But definitely not one of my favorites from Colleen Hoover. And then I read When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling. I reread this one on audio. Absolutely loved it. I've mentioned this multiple times on my channel. It's a mafia, kind of hate to love romance. The heroine is the hero's lawyer, and he is being framed for murder. And it's really, really good. Highly recommend. I love the audio of this one. I love the accents, and I know like Gianna Darling, the author, and the audiobook narrators spent a lot of hard work and time in perfecting those accents, and I just want to give them a round of applause because they did an amazing job. I absolutely love it. And then I read Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. This was one of my most anticipated reads for this year. Absolutely loved it. Gave this one 5 stars. This is a STEM romance, and our heroine is getting to work on this new project, and she has to move to Texas, and she finds out that like her arch nemesis from graduate school is there and is going to be the co-head of this project with her. But then she kind of finds out that he actually doesn't hate her and has kind of been in love with her like ever since he knew her. He just is really bad at communicating his feelings, and I really love this one. I thought it was super cute and super fun on them trying to like figure out how to get their project up and running because their project was going to be cut, and it was just really fun, and I really enjoyed it. I love Ali Hazelwood's books, and they're just really fun and great reads. The next book I read was When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn. I actually got this in the Audible sale, and I give this one 5 stars. It's so good. This is the, gosh, I think it's the 6th book in the Bridgerton series. This follows Francesca, and Francesca just lost her husband, and it's now a couple years later, and she was really good friends with her husband's cousin, but what she doesn't know is her husband's cousin has been in love with her since he met her, and she doesn't know that, obviously. And so now she is trying to find a new husband because she really wants a baby very badly. And the cousin of her husband was in India, and now he's back in town, and tensions start rising between them, and it's really, really good. I absolutely love this one. It's probably one of my favorites in the Bridgerton series, and I can't wait to keep reading the series. So good, 5 stars. And then I read Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. I loved this book. I gave this one 5 stars. I think with Anna Huang, I've had a hard time with her books because I anticipated them to be a lot like faster paced than they are, but I just have to tell myself that her books, her romances, are a lot more slow burn than I expect, which I love slow burn, but I just don't like being surprised by it. So I think that's why I haven't given her other books a real shot. But I absolutely love this one. This follows Stella, and she is a fashion person. She loves fashion. She wants fashion to be her full-time job. She is actually an influencer. And so because for her page, she's been stuck on this one number of followers for a really long time. And I think her agent suggests, well, the new hot thing is like couples, and so her agent suggests that she just gets in a fake relationship, and she's like, okay. So she's like asking around to find like somebody to fake date with, and then the owner of her apartment complex, Christian, who's kind of had a crush on her for a really long time, he's like, well, why don't I be your fake boyfriend? And he is a billionaire. He is very protective over Stella, and they start a fake relationship, and it, you know, very slow burn, and tensions rise, and their chemistry just keeps going and going, and I really, really loved it. And on the sideline, another story plot is that Stella has a stalker, and so she has to move in with Christian, and it's just really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really good end to the series. It's a very chunky book. Like, this is very, very heavy, but I just love this one, and I need to read the others in the series, and I can't wait for King of Wrath, just coming out in October, so I can't wait for that. The next book I read was Carnal Urges by J.C. Geisinger. I absolutely love this book. It was so fun. This is a mafia kidnapping romance, and so our heroine Sloane, she accidentally starts a war between the Irish and the Russian mafias that she doesn't know, and so the Irish mafia kidnaps her, and she's like on this plane, and this guy is like, I kidnapped you, and she like basically really doesn't care that she's kidnapped. She makes light of the situation. It's super funny, and he absolutely hates her for that. He wants her to be scared and all this funny stuff, and she's just like, I'm not, I'm fine, whatever. This is like, you know, a step in the park for me. It's like nothing to me. And he kind of starts getting infatuated with that, like getting, you know, just like, wow, she's this cool chick who doesn't care that I kidnapped her. And they kind of start having feelings for each other and chemistry, and the banter in this book is just incredible. And it's a real pull and tug between the characters, which I loved, and it was just so fun. I absolutely love this book. If you want a funny mafia romance, which I never thought I would love, but I absolutely love this book, definitely go check this one out. I give it 5 stars. So, so good. Okay, so the next 4 books are in a series that I binged, and that's the Tattered and Torn series by Catherine Cowles. I absolutely devoured this series during this month. It's so incredible. The first book is called Tattered Stars, and this follows Everly, and Everly grew up in a doomsday-esque family, and she had to go through these like survivalist trainings when she was younger, and her father takes it too far when he kidnaps a little girl, and so Everly in the dead of night decides to ride her horse to, this is a small town romance by the way, decides to ride her horse to the sheriff's station and basically rat her father out, and basically say, my father's been holding this girl, kidnapped this girl, and so the girl gets back to her family safe, well, safe physically but not emotionally, and so she is kind of known now as the outcast of the town. People really hate her and her family, but she was the one who saved the girl, so it's kind of a weird double standard. And so she goes away for a couple years and comes back into town and decides to go back to her home in the mountains and live there, and decides to start building an animal sanctuary. And so when the new sheriff of town finds out, he's actually the older brother of the girl who was kidnapped, and he is really mad at Everly for being back in town. He kind of blames her for what happened to his sister, but he actually really blames himself because he was supposed to be watching his younger sister at like a carnival or something when she was kidnapped. But then Everly starts kind of getting these weird attacks happening to women, and he is really worried about her because of her family. Her brother is really crazy and is trying to like scare Everly, and he starts becoming protective of her and learning what her kind of side of the story was with what happened. And he kind of falls in love with her, and she falls in love with him, and there's a lot of action in this book, and I just loved it. This one is so good. I give this one 4 stars, but I absolutely loved it. Like, it was so good. And then the next one in the series is Falling Embers, and this is a second chance friends to lovers romance. So Hadley has kind of had a really rough relationship with her mother. So Hadley is the sister of Shiloh, and Shiloh was the one who was kidnapped in the first book. She was the little girl, and so her mother kind of really wanted to keep Hadley safe. She was the youngest out of all of the kids, and really wouldn't allow her to do stuff that a normal girl would do in her teens and stuff like that. And so Hadley kind of resents her mother, and her mother resents Hadley, thinking that, you know, she's never there for her family, but she really is. And it really upsets Hadley, but her mother just doesn't realize it. And Calder is a firefighter, and he has 2 twin daughters, and he and Hadley were really close, but then his ex-wife got in a really bad accident with his daughters, and she kind of did it purposely. And so now he doesn't want to let any women into his life at the risk of losing them or his daughters. But then Hadley starts getting these weird messages. She's actually a YouTuber and does all of these like different like stunts and stuff like that, like dirt biking and skateboarding and all that stuff, and films it on for like a YouTube-esque channel thing. And she has a lot of followers, but then she starts getting these weird messages of like a stalker kind of thing. And so Calder gets really protective over Hadley, and he kind of realizes his feelings for her aren't gone, and she's always had feelings for him and has always wanted to be with him. And it's just such a great book. I loved it. Hadley is an EMT, and they work together because Calder is a firefighter, and I just love this book. I gave this one 5 stars. So good. And then I read Hidden Waters, which is Everly's cousin Addie, and Addie was kind of in a little bit worser spot than Everly with her experiences, because Addie's family is a lot like Everly's family, like very doomsday-esque, but her father was super abusive to Addie, and so Addie finally gets out of that situation, and she's in the real world now, and she's really struggling because she you know, has a lot of PTSD from her father and what he did to her, and just not knowing what to do in the real world. Like, she's never driven a car, she didn't go to high school, that kind of thing. And so Beckett is the eldest brother in the Eastons family, and he's back in town from being away. I think he was like a combat doctor. And so he comes back in town, and he needs somewhere to stay, and so she's actually staying at Hayes, which is the hero of the first book's house, because she doesn't like have any money to buy her own house, and they suggest, well, Becca needs somewhere to stay, so can you stay with Addie? And she's very apprehensive about it, but she's like, sure, and they start becoming really good friends. And he's helping her with this list of stuff she wants to do, like eat different foods, get her driver's license, all of this stuff, and it's just so adorable, and he's so overprotective over her. But Addie starts kind of getting attacked by her father in public, and these weird things start happening, and it's very worrisome. And it's really good. I absolutely love this book. 5 stars. One of my favorites in the series. It was incredible. So good. Highly recommend this series. And then the last book in the series that is out so far, I read for a reading vlog, which will be coming soon this week. Probably Friday, I think, or Saturday. And that's Shattered Sea. I read this for a small town romance reading vlog. And it's so good. This one is about Lakin, and she lost her boyfriend in a really bad accident in high school, and she suffers a lot of chronic pain from the accident. So fast forward years later, she is the manager of the art gallery in town, and she's still dealing with a lot of guilt from the accident, and she's trying to be there for her boyfriend's family and stuff like that. And so she finds out that people in the accident are starting to be killed off, and so she doesn't feel safe. And then this guy named Bowden comes into town, and he is a movie star, and he's trying to get away from publicity and stuff like that. And so they kind of start up this friendship, and she needs somewhere to stay because they know where she lives, the people that are killing off the people in the accident. And so she decides to stay with Bowden for a little bit, and it was so good. It's very action-packed. I loved her dog. He like is in a wheelchair, or like he has wheels for his legs, and I just thought that the dog was so cute. And then his dog was really cute, and their relationship, it had so much action. I love the emotionality of these characters. So good. Hear more of my in the reading vlog when I post it, if you want to check that out. And then the last book I read this month was Between Wrath and Mercy by Jess Wisecup. I didn't love this one. I DNF'd it. I gave it 3 stars. I'm still counting it as read because I read a lot of it. This is a fantasy romance. I just didn't really like it. But that is it for this wrap up. My battery's flashing, so I'm trying to do a quick goodbye. But thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon.